Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the third chapter in Unit 6, that is Agriculture 1947 to 1990. As you already know that India is an agricultural economy. So first of all, we should know the importance of agriculture in our economy. Contribution to GDP. 59% contribution to GDP was there in 1950-51, which reduced or declined to 17% in 2014-15. The reason being that people shifted from agriculture to manufacturing and service sector. That is why the contribution has declined. Major source of employment. It is still the major source of employment. Still there are 47% people who are employed in agriculture. But earlier this percentage was 72%. As we can see, there is a decline in employment in agriculture. This is mainly because now there are other scopes, there are other sectors of the economy which are coming up. Importance in industrial development. Agriculture provides raw materials for several industries such as jute, raw jute for jute industry, raw cotton for cotton industry, and so on. Supply of food and fodder. As I have mentioned here, that food is available for 121 crore of population from agriculture alone, and fodder, which is the food for animals, it is available for 38 crore animals. So as you can see, agriculture provides food and fodder. It is a very big supplier of food and fodder. Importance in foreign trade. We already know what is foreign trade. It is when we export and import, that is known as foreign trade. So one of our very big ingredients in terms of agricultural exports are such as jute, coffee, etc. I have named a few, there are several more. So it does contribute a lot to foreign trade also. Now coming up with the features of Indian agriculture. What is peculiar about Indian agriculture itself? First thing that we have noted here itself, that there is a decline in the share of GDP and employment. हमने देखा that from 59% contribution to GDP, it has come down to 17%. And again, employment has also come down from 72% to 47%. And the reason, let me repeat, is because people have moved from agriculture to other non-agriculture sectors such as industries and services. Largest private sector. Farming in India is done privately. Individuals are owning lands. Unlike China or any other country where government also owns lands, or it gets agriculture done on the behalf of the government. Agriculture is being done in several countries, but in our country only people individually owning the land, they are doing agriculture. It is the largest unorganized sector. Unorganized to the extent कि जो लोग farming में लगे हुए हैं, we already know farming income, agricultural income is not taxable. Okay, so there is no need for the people who are engaged in agriculture to maintain books of accounts and all that. So, and also one reason why it is unorganized is because a big share of unskilled labor is employed in agriculture. Next is disguised and seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment, very clear from the name itself, that in some seasons, especially the sowing and harvesting season, people get employment, and on other occasions they might be unemployed. So there is seasonal unemployment very evident in agriculture. Disguised unemployment means that the work of 4 people is being done by 10 people, because maybe in that family if there are 10 members and there is a farm in which they are doing agriculture, so when they have got nothing better to do, all 10 are doing something or the other in agriculture, where there is only requirement of 4 people. So disguised and seasonal unemployment is one trait that we can see here. Fluctuating production. The production in agriculture is of a fluctuating nature owing to the monsoons, because most of our irrigation, we are dependent on monsoons. Monsoons हुए तो फसल अच्छी हुई, otherwise it might not be a good season for the crops. Main problems as we see in the third order is the problems underlying our agriculture. सबसे पहले heavy dependence of population on agriculture. I believe we've discussed this point in detail. Second is dependence on monsoon. Again, this point also we have covered here. Uneconomic, small and scattered holdings. Holdings का मतलब farms. The farm size, individual farm size, 80% in India, people are holding land which is less than 2 hectares of in terms of size. which is a very uneconomic holding in the sense we cannot use latest means of cultivation, we cannot use them in such a small size of land. So maximum land which is being cultivated in India is of a small size. Lack of institutional credit. By institutional credit we means banks or cooperative societies. So such sources of credit means loan basically. So if farmers want to seek loan or they want to deposit money, there is a lack of banks and branches of banks in the villages where mostly agriculture is done. So due to this reason, even today the farmers are exploited by money lenders. गांव में साहूकार महाजन उनको एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं. Lack of organized marketing system. The farmers when they are producing their crop, उसके बाद में जो nearest मंडी होती है उसमें they take the crop to sell, and because that mandi is not organized, it is not under government, so there are a lot of malpractices, such as weights and measures may not be standardized. Okay, there can be manipulation of middlemen who can take a major share of the profit in which the farmer hardly gets anything. All these malpractices we are going to discuss later in detail in the same chapter. So because of all this, we can say that there is lack of organized marketing system, a very big problem of agriculture. Now we come to, when we've seen the problems, let us see what the government has done so far, what policies it has made in order to improve this situation. Number one, we come to land reforms. What measures the government has taken in order to improve the ownership of holdings. The first thing is abolition of intermediaries. Intermediaries are middlemen. Pehle the zamindars used to own the land, okay, and now again the same thing has happened, that when the farmer is doing when a farmer is doing cultivation, so these middlemen, it may be zamindars or money lenders, whosoever is involved and whosoever is having a lot of money, what do they try? They try to make the maximum benefit out of the cultivation that is being done. They themselves are owners of the land, unke behalf पर farmers are doing the cultivation, but they do not want the profits to go in the hand of the cultivator. So what do? They offer the farmers that we are going to buy your produce at a certain rate which is definitely lower than the market price, but giving the farmer the incentive that if you sell all your produce today, you will not have to wait for a time when you get a better price. तो farmer को क्योंकि अपने debts pay करने होते हैं, family के, there are many expenses to be done, so a farmer is lured, farmer attract होता है उनके offer से, and the farmer ends up losing the major share of the profit. फार्मर से वो प्रोड्यूस को खरीदते हैं और मार्केट में जाके ऊंची कीमत पे वो बेचते हैं, जिसकी वजह से द बेनिफिट ऑफ फार्मिंग go to the zamindars or the money lenders later on, and the farmers are not getting those benefits. तो ये जो abolition of intermediaries में गवर्नमेंट ने पहला काम क्या किया, that middlemen are now removed from the system of selling and marketing to the extent so that the benefit of farming can go to the farmers directly. Second, this abolition of intermediaries has been successful majorly in two states, Kerala and West Bengal. Even though this was done for the entire country where agriculture took place, but these two places are worth mentioning जहाँ पर ये successful हुआ. Land ceiling. Land ceiling का मतलब है fixation of maximum size of land that a person can own. As you know, in the zamindari system, zamindars used to have huge plot of lands. वो जमींदार होते थे, उनके पास बड़ी बड़ी ज़मीनें होती थी. So what did the government do? It took surplus land from zamindars and redistributed among landless farmers. उन्होंने एक लिमिट डिसाइड की that beyond this limit no zamindar can keep a land. एक पर्सन के पास इतनी ज़मीन होगी, सीलिंग कर दी, यानी उतनी लिमिट डिसाइड कर दी. उसके बियॉन्ड जो सरप्लस लैंड थी उसको गवर्नमेंट ने कंपनसेशन देके, गवर्नमेंट टुक द लैंड टू इटसेल्फ एंड गेव इट टू द नीडी फार्मर्स, द लैंडलेस फार्मर्स. ओके, नेक्स्ट वी कम टू tenancy reforms. Tenancy means, here we mean tenants. कौन से tenants? If जमींदार are owners of the land, तो उनकी ज़मीन पर जो काम करते थे farmers, they are the tenants. So they were being exploited by the zamindars. What tenancy reforms were there? They were done basically to resolve the conflict between zamindars and farmer tenants. Number one, security of tenure. Tenure means time period. If a farmer is getting to cultivate a zamindar's land for 1 year and is working hard on that land in order to get a good harvest, so विदिन दैट टाइम पीरियड ही शुड नॉट बी एविक्टेड, उसको नहीं हटाया जाना चाहिए उस ज़मीन से उस साल भर के अंदर। तो ये सिक्योरिटी ऑफ टेन्योर गवर्नमेंट ने रूल्स लाके सबसे पहले दिस टेन्योर वाज सिक्योर्ड फॉर द फार्मर कि एक पीरियड जो कि जिसमें वो टेनेंट बनाए उस पीरियड से पहले उसको कोई नहीं निकाल सकता। नंबर 2 इज रेगुलेशन ऑफ रेंट। पहले बहुत ज़्यादा रेंट या लगान फार्मर्स से चार्ज किया जाता था, उनको एक्सप्लॉइट किया जाता था। अब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स ने अलग अलग स्टेट्स में हालांकि अलग अलग रेंट है, लाइक इन बिहार इट मे बी डिफरेंट, इन राजस्थान इट मे बी डिफरेंट। रीज़न दोनों में फर्टिलिटी डिफरेंट है ज़मीन की, सो मे बी द रेंट इज़ डिफरेंट बट द rent will be charged only which is being fixed by the state government and it is a reasonable rent. Okay, nobody can charge, कोई मनमानी से अपने चार्ज नहीं कर सकते। laws to make tenants owners of land, ये भी कोशिश की गई कि कुछ ऐसे रूल्स बनाए जाए, लॉज बनाए जाए दैट टेनेंट्स कैन बी मेड ओनर्स ऑफ लैंड। अगर वो एक ज़मीन को एक पीरियड ऑफ टाइम तक दे हैव बीन प्लोइंग कल्टिवेटिंग, सो इवेंचुअली देयर आर लॉज दैट दे कैन बिकम द ओनर्स ऑल्सो। कंसोलिडेशन ऑफ होल्डिंग, कंसोलिडेशन मीन्स bringing together, as we've already seen that there were uneconomic holdings, यानी हमारे पास जो खेत थे they were small in size and they were scattered, like coming from father to son, वो जो लैंड का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता है प्रॉपर्टी का लॉ ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस के हिसाब से, तो अल्टीमेटली एक ज़मीन का टुकड़ा जो मिलता था एक फार्मर को फार्मिंग के लिए वो बहुत छोटा होता था। ओके, एंड अगेन इफ़ यू वांटेड टू बाय अनदर लैंड तो बराबर वाली तो नहीं मिलती थी उसको। नाउ अंडर कंसोलिडेशन ऑफ होल्डिंग ये प्रोविजन बनाया गवर्नमेंट ने that he can get the farmer can get a land which is in lieu of his own land, like if he is having a land next to him which is belonging to some other farmer और उसकी अपनी ज़मीन कहीं दूर पर है तो वो उस फार्मर को अपनी ज़मीन दे सकता है in lieu of the plot next to him, जिससे उसका ज़मीन का साइज बड़ा हो जाए and he can use latest techniques of farming. Lastly we come to cooperative farming. This is a very you familiar with this term cooperative farming, जिसके अंदर joint farming is done by pooling land together and distributing the benefits among themselves. यानी small farmers what do? वो अपने छोटे छोटे ज़मीन के टुकड़ों को एक साथ करके इकट्ठा फार्मिंग करेंगे, सारे रिसोर्सेज अपने इकट्ठे करके फार्मिंग करेंगे, उनके पास मनी भी लिमिटेड होता है जिसकी वजह से दे कैन डू फार्मिंग इन अ बेटर वे, दे कैन इन्वॉल्व गुड टेक्निक्स ऑफ कल्टिवेशन एंड उससे प्रॉफिट्स भी अच्छे रहेंगे और उन प्रॉफिट्स को वो अपनी ज़मीन के साइज़ के हिसाब से रिसोर्सेज कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटेड के हिसाब से आपस में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर लेंगे। ओके, वी आर गोइंग टू नाउ टेक अप द remaining of the reforms. The first one we have covered, that is land reforms. We are going to continue from what we started here. Agriculture policies 1950 to 1990. We have discussed land reforms. Now the second type of reforms that took place through agricultural policies of the government were technology reforms. Technology reforms relate to mainly all those efforts that the government took in order to change the pattern of agriculture or cultivation by introducing new inputs, new type of inputs which we had never used before. Like for example, the use of HYV seeds, high yielding variety seeds, also known as miracle seeds. ये जो seeds थे इनकी help से उसी same area में पहले से कहीं ज़्यादा production मिल पाता था. Fertilizers, earlier we were using manure, हम खाद यूज़ करते थे गोबर की. नाउ वी यूज़ केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स एंड विद द हेल्प ऑफ दीज फर्टिलाइजर्स वी वर एबल टू इंक्रीज द आउटपुट टू मेनी टाइम्स. पेस्टिसाइड्स, पहले हम लोग नीम या कपूर इनकी हेल्प से पेस्ट को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करते थे. पेस्ट आर ऑल दोज इंसेक्ट्स दैट हार्म द क्रॉप्स. So by sprinkling chemical fertilizers now we are able to save our crops to a great extent. Better means of irrigation. Earlier we were depending on monsoons. Now we constructed tube wells and such permanent means of irrigation जिसकी मदद से now we are able to control the type of harvest we are going to have. Use of machines. We are now using more machines than before. Tractors, threshers, etc. Earlier we were using wooden plow and all, which were not very scientific modes of cultivation. So all these put together, they are known as a package approach. This is a complete package, okay? Also known as the new agricultural strategy, which eventually led to the Green Revolution in 1966. Okay, Now we are going to discuss green revolution in detail later. The next form of reforms are general reforms. Expansion of irrigation facilities. 40% more irrigation facilities were available now, and there were permanent means of irrigation such as tube wells, canal system constructed by the government. Dry farming techniques were introduced. In those areas where there was shortage of water for irrigation, such methods as sprinklers and all were developed so that farmers could cultivate crops even in dry areas. Expansion of institutional credit. Institutional credit, as we have already mentioned, are banks, etc. So there were more branches of banks in rural areas, especially commercial banks increased the number of branches in rural areas, and we are talking about rural areas because agriculture is mainly done in rural India. Regional rural banks were set up in 1975. These banks were mainly set up in those remote areas जहाँ पर पहले बैंक नहीं थे. National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, commonly known as NABARD, was set up in 1982. Like RBI looks after all the commercial banks in India, the same way NABARD looks after all the banks that deal with agricultural credit. Okay, so this was set up in 1982. Another thing, improvement in agriculture marketing. We've already discussed a few problems of agriculture. Through all these policies, government has tried to resolve those problems. Agricultural marketing was unorganized. This was one problem. So what did government do? Regulated markets were set up. Government controlled markets were set up so that the farmer could get reasonable price for his crops. Check on wrong practices of commission agents. Commission agents basically used to loot the farmers by manipulating the prices, and they used to end up having the profit that the farmer deserved. Standardized weights and measures. Normally the weights and measures that were used earlier in unorganized market were even stones, bricks, etc. were used, and farmer could be easily cheated with them. Now standard weights and measures जिन पे जो गवर्नमेंट की मोहर होती थी उनको यूज़ किया जाता था in these regulated markets. Minimum support price. Now minimum support price means that government ensure करती है कि farmer को कोई नुकसान ना हो, which means that if he has a good harvest और मार्केट में उसको अपने प्रोडक्ट की अच्छी प्राइस नहीं मिल रही है तो गवर्नमेंट एक प्राइस फिक्स कर देगी in order to support the farmers, to ensure a fair price for farmers. And especially minimum support price गवर्नमेंट ने देना शुरू किया in context of wheat, rice. अब शुगर केन भी इसमें आ गया है, तो minimum support price भी गवर्नमेंट ने देना शुरू किया in order to ensure the interest of the farmers. Commission for Agriculture Cost and Price (CACP) was set up in 1965. इसका काम क्या था? ये डिसाइड करना कि मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस क्या हो. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कॉस्ट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर इट कुड डिसाइड द प्राइस, यानी कितनी लागत लगी है फार्मर की, उसके बेस पर प्राइस यानी मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस डिसाइड होता था. फूड कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया (FCI) was also set up by the government, जो डायरेक्टली फार्मर्स से मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस पर क्रॉप को खरीद लेती थी. Now what were these achievements of these agrarian reforms, यानी जितनी भी ये रिफॉर्म्स थी इनमें हमने अचीव क्या किया सो फार. इसमें हम अचीवमेंट्स में मेन क्रेडिट देंगे ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन को. सो लेट अस फर्स्ट स्टडी अबाउट ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन एंड कम बैक टू दैट. ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन, एज आई टोल्ड यू, that it was started in 1960s, particularly 1966. This concept was introduced by M.S. Swaminathan. Okay, in this green revolution, we use these high-yielding variety seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, better means of irrigation, and use of machines. We started using all of them together in particularly few areas in the first phase, like Punjab, Haryana, Western UP. Why these areas? Because यहाँ पर farmers were more prosperous, moneyed as compared to other areas. Okay, तो इन areas में सबसे पहला phase green revolution का start किया गया using these inputs, क्योंकि farmers इनको afford कर सकते थे. ये सारी inputs इनकी हमने बात की, ये महंगी हैं तो हर कोई farmer इनको afford नहीं कर सकता. So they started with Punjab, Haryana and Western UP farmers. ये inputs use करके यहाँ पर एग्रीकल्चर किया गया और रिजल्ट उसका क्या था? एज यू कैन सी, प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज, पर्टिकुलरली वीट प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज किया अबाउट 10 times. देन राइस प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज अबाउट 3 times. एंड दिस इज अ वेरी बिग अचीवमेंट इन अ वेरी शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम. जो फर्स्ट फेज थी 1960s to 1970s, सेकेंड फेज 1970s टू 1980s, दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या था? पहली फेज में एरियाज लिमिटेड थे और क्रॉप्स भी लिमिटेड थे, मेनली वीट था। सेकेंड फेज जो 1970s टू 80s थे, उसमें बाकी एरियाज में भी इस रेवोल्यूशन को ले जाया गया, इस अप्रोच को यूज़ किया गया और ज़्यादा क्रॉप्स को इसके अंदर इंकॉर्पोरेट किया गया, सच एज वीट ऑलरेडी था, राइस, मेज, ज्वार एंड बाजरा, दीज वर ऑल्सो इंकॉर्पोरेटेड। तो ये दो फेजेस में ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन टुक प्लेस, फाइन। तो इसका अचीवमेंट क्या थे? प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा, प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ी, पर हेक्टेयर हमारी आउटपुट बढ़ी 4 times in case of wheat and 2.5 times in case of rice. Then there was increase in area under cultivation. Okay, with the help of these latest techniques, we could bring more land under cultivation. Again, I mentioned dry farming techniques. Changing cropping pattern. पहले जो हम ग्रो करते थे उसमें और अब में क्या चेंज था? अब पहले से ज़्यादा फसल हम ले सकते थे। पर्टिकुलरली यहाँ पर क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न में क्या चेंज है? मोर सीरियल्स एंड लेस पल्सेस, दालें कम प्रोड्यूस हुई इस ड्यूरेशन में और सीरियल्स ज़्यादा हुए, सच एज वीट, राइस, मेज एट्सेट्रा। वीट का प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा और कोर्स ग्रेन्स का प्रोडक्शन कम हुआ। पहले एट द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस हम लोग ज्वार, बाजरा ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस करते थे, अब हमने वीट का प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाया। ओके, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एग्रो सपोर्टिंग इंडस्ट्रीज़, जैसे क्योंकि हमें फर्टिलाइजर्स चाहिए थे और लेटेस्ट इम्प्लीमेंट्स चाहिए थे, मशीन्स चाहिए थी, तो उनको बनाने वाली इंडस्ट्रीज़ such as fertilizer industries, they grew in this duration. Also there was a change in the approach of farmers from subsistence to commercial farming. यानी पहले वो सिर्फ अपने गुजारे के लिए फार्मिंग करते थे, अब उनका प्रोडक्शन इतने गुना बढ़ने के बाद में they used to produce so much that there was a marketable surplus. Marketable surplus means कि अपनी फैमिली के लिए प्रोड्यूस करने के बाद में उनके पास इतना बच जाता था कि वो मार्केट में उसको बेच सकते थे। एंड अगेन ऑल दिस ओज टू द ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन। ये सारी अच्छाइयाँ देखने के बाद में लेट अस सी वेयर वी लैग बिहाइंड इन ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन। लिमिटेशंस, नंबर 1 रिस्ट्रिक्टेड एरिया। एज यू कैन सी पहली फेज में तो बिल्कुल लिमिटेड स्टेट्स ही थी, आगे भी पूरे इंडिया में ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन स्प्रेड नहीं हो पाया बिकॉज द इनपुट्स वर सो एक्सपेंसिव। ओके, एंड स्पेशली अगर हम बात करें 1980s की, तो इसके बाद में ग्रीन रिवोल्यूशन को फर्दर मोर कैरी फॉरवर्ड नहीं किया गया। लिमिटेड एरियाज वर देयर, लिमिटेड क्रॉप्स वर देयर, दिस पॉइंट वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड। इकोनॉमिक गैप इंक्रीज्ड, मीन्स दोज फार्मर्स हु कुड अफोर्ड दीज इनपुट्स यूज द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ दीज इनपुट्स और उनका प्रोडक्शन बहुत तेज़ी से बढ़ा और वो दे बिकेम फ्रॉम रिच टू रिचर and the poor farmers remained poor and the gap between the rich and poor farmers increased. Okay, rise in unemployment, क्योंकि machines का इस्तेमाल बढ़ा तो लेबर का इस्तेमाल कम हुआ, so there was a rise in unemployment. And also ecological degradation, chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides का increase हो गया use, उसकी वजह से the soil had more chemical content and ecological balance was disturbed. पहले हमारी फार्मिंग मोरलेस ऑर्गेनिक नेचर ऑफ फार्मिंग थी, केमिकल का यूज़ मिनिमलिस्टिक था। सो देयर वर नॉट ओनली जस्ट प्लस पॉइंट्स, देयर वर नेगेटिव पॉइंट्स ऑल्सो फॉर ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन, बट इन टोटलिटी वी से दैट अ लॉट इन एग्रीकल्चर इन आवर पॉलिसीज ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर ओज टू दिस ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन। अभी की सिचुएशन अगर हम देखें तो वी डू रिक्वायर अ सेकेंड ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन। 1980s के बाद में एग्रीकल्चर में कोई ऐसा मेजर चेंज या मेजर इंक्रीज एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन में नहीं आया जो इस स्पैन में आया फ्रॉम 60s to 80s। ओके, सो दैट्स ऑल फॉर दिस चैप्टर।